Want to be on top. Man, I remember I grew up watching, not grew up watching. This show had me in a headlock. I watched it faithfully when it premiered May 20th, 2003. I was in a headlock. You hear me? I watched this show just like all the other girls with a dream of being a model or some type of, you know, walkway or clothing model, and had inspirations and admirations at all the girls that showed up on this show. And I watched it on Netflix, and it brought back all these feelings that I had of just feeling not pretty enough, not the right size, not appealing, uh, not the right skin color, hair not long enough, textured enough. And a lot of women and young ladies, all of us are in the age group of these models from cycle one. We are in these age groups. We are in our early 40s to 40s. So I was in this age group. This was the year that I became a homeowner of later on that year. So I was doing things, and I was wanting to do more for myself too. All of us, this is the group of women that were doing big things in our times, and we wasn't taking no answers about it. So the show, as I say, it started in 2023, and Tyra taps in her team, beginning with Ken Mock, who created and end. It's a lot of people's pictures that I have, and a lot of people's pictures that I did not want to use because I don't want to be copyrighted for using everything about Netflix onto my channel and then get hit. So there are pictures and videos that I do have that I will be showing, but I will be putting my profile pictures over it so you can hear everything that was happening. Like I said, Ken Mott worked with Tyra, and he created Make Another Band. So him and Tyra together, they came together to create America's Next Top Model. They then began to look for people to work with. Enter Jay Alexander, runway coach model, and he also taught Tyra how to walk the runway. Jay Alexander is the one to your right with the cap on his head, the good looking black guy. He was a model as well. And we will talk more about him as we go. Next, they would Manuel. He was a photo shoot director, which will be the guy to your left in the long gray jacket. There will be more to talk about with him also. Now, the guy in the middle, he comes much later on. So they pitched the show. No One Bites until UPN Dawn Ostroff. She needed a hit because they were threatening to get rid of UPN as a network. Now, we all know all the famous shows that come out of network. I was one of those people that watched Charmed and Supernatural, and some other shows I just can't name off the top. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a whole lot of shows came off UPN WB now. And they needed a hit because the show was sinking and tanking. I think UPN later became the WB, which it still became good because later on the WB, they would thrust in like shows like The Game and more. And so they pitched the show No One Bites until she is met by a phone call from Tyra. They had, but nobody during this time before meeting with Dawn, nobody would ABC, NBC, CBS, they did not want the show because it was a stigma on the models as unsympathetic. And Tyra says that stayed with her for a long time. And it's something that may have been true about Tyra herself, unfortunately. So Tyra Once they meet up with UPN, they do all the talk. She decides to get up. And I believe in this moment, she took on this Jay, the black guy in this picture, persona. I believe she destiny swapped his energy and his aura because she she took on this persona to pitch the show and they got a yes because of it. She did a walk. She said that she walked like Jay down, just down. She took the office, the room, the meeting room as a runway. And the director lady says she felt a certain way, but then when she saw the walk and the talk, she decided, let's run with it. So later they hold talent shows. Search for America's Next Top Model. And in that begins a search for girls for the show, cycle one. Enter Ebony. Ebony Half. She's 24 at the time from New York, coming up feeling unattractive, but her grandmother exalted her, and that carried through. She had confidence, security in herself. This was beautiful woman in every way, and she should not have made to feel any other way about herself other than what her grandmother and how her grandmother taught her to feel. The network had issues with diversity. They had to get it together fast. UPN didn't want a Latina girl, so they had to let the girl that they were trying to get go. Tyra was on the phone arguing with Les Moves over UPN at the time. And Ken Mock says that they got into like a knockdown, drag out fight over the phone that almost became physical. Tyra raised HELL about trying to get this Latino on the show. So, but they had to let the girl go, despite however Tyra felt at the time. Enter who would be Giselle from Cycle 1. She's 18 from California. She talks about being part of something big and exciting. She's very happy because this is a time for her to be something. Giselle is the one to the far right in the short dress. Now I tried to take the best picture that I could take. I don't know why it's so highlighted. I wish I could have done better. But I have videos of her that you will be able to see better. Cycle 1 begins. They live together in a hotel suite, shooting different scenes, while the directors and producers stay in a separate room. They claim they built the perfect segue for the girls. And as we'll see, that didn't work out as planned later in their careers and after the show. They sabotaged those girls' careers, most of them anyway. They sabotaged them in a way by casting some of the black girls as aggressive or mean, ashy, had attitudes, were too old, or just wasn't the right anesthetic or preference. So the Jays talk about their friendship, Mr. and Mrs. J, and being discriminated against because of their sexualities. Now, Mr. and Mrs. J are both gay men. So also you have a Let's Move As who's over UPN that not only has a problem with color, but he has a problem with people's sexuality. They are both gay men. And so they talk about their friendship, all those that they have faced, and how that it's just been kind of hard, and they've been trying to like just fit the persona as far as their jobs should have been enough. So during this show and during the judging ceremonies, enter Janice Dickinson. She terrorized the girls, called them names, said they looked like boys. She hated healthy looking girls. She felt like because she was a model once upon a time during her natural maybe face phase and all the things she had to do to get to where she was, she felt like I think a lot of people feel like you shouldn't have it so easy because they didn't have it easy. They had to sacrifice their soul and give up who they were. So they feel like that's something you should do, which is why they tried to break those girls down into being who they were. But I'm glad most of those girls see now that it wasn't what they thought it was. She called them old with her and with somebody having an old face like this. Now, because Janice also set off the beginning of eating disorders on the show, this continued on through many seasons. We got to see the girls go on these crazy water diets, some not eating for days, others thinking that smoking and drinking Coca-Cola was the way to go. And probably a lot of them have health issues now because of this show. They put pressures on the girls for their sizes. Tyra went back and forth with Tyra. Tyra went back and forth with Janice, of course. Of course she did. But I feel like it was for entertainment purposes because she participated in these same opinions and attitude as the show went on. They really felt they could go off and build on this, but things don't go as planned. The girls talk on the show about wasn't what they thought it was gonna be. And producers would instigate fights between the girls, telling one what the other said. And so that will cause a lot of confusions lots of times on the show. And I know me watching the show, I know I've seen it, how somebody would be getting into a fight that 1 minute I saw that I thought they were all good. But it was really the producers that would go back and tell one girl what another girl said, which was why Ebony and Giselle would get into it. They called Giselle wide ass. Giselle said it affected her to this day. Calling people names when you're young like that, it does influence how you feel. Them using these type of names offset how to teach society how to talk to girls that looked a certain way too. So now you're giving society views against other women that are not even on the show, but just women in society altogether. And let's just face it, a lot of people get their word salad from shows. What they verbalize and how they verbalize it is something that they heard on the show. So now they use it in real life and it becomes personified. So that's where we're going to go even more in depth about this. Now, Ebony gets to feel the same energy.
Should we write her name?
Yeah. I kept thinking this was a test. That at any moment, Mr. J would say, Ebony, you're fabulous, or Ebony, you've handled this well. They end up giving me 3 bald spots. Yeah, very disappointing. And it's very upsetting to an African-American woman to go into a salon and the person to do her hair incorrectly. It's very inappropriate. Tyra would not have this. She's too very...
I mean, to just sit there and say, write her name into her head, if that isn't like a type of discriminatory comment that will warrant that stylist being fired or removed, And them, the show, letting them get away with that. The producers letting them getting away with that. People that stood by letting them get away with that. How would that make you feel? And then you look at the type of stylists they have, like the issues that we have fought for today and in the last couple of years, where you have somebody white trying to do a black girl's head. Now you have somebody that's trying to do a black girl's head that doesn't have a lot of hair and she doesn't know what to do with her hair. So Ebony believes that maybe Tyra will intervene.
As I'm trying to figure out how can I fix my hair, Tyra calls me. It's the end of the day, and this was like the first time we really even had a conversation because she barely spoke to me on the show. So I'm thinking that
So mind you, Tyra's barely speaking to her on this show. Okay.
sister is going to understand. I thought she was going to say, girl, don't worry, I'll go to Harlem. And she says, the judges have been talking to me and they've been saying that you have been showing up ashy every day. And I'm blown away. She didn't say, oh, you know.
And you know what they say about dark skinned girls. Everywhere you go, I see people how they look at dark skinned girls and brown skinned girls like me or any other girl darker than me. And they like to observe your body to look to see if you have any ashy on your skin. People do this.
You're dealing with a little acne, or you know what, Ebony, your skin looks a little irritated. I didn't understand why they chose those specific words when this is a word that's been used in history to make us feel less than.
With your skin texture, being an African American woman, it should be like butter. At the retouching session, your photo was the hardest that we had to do.
Wait a minute, am I being treated differently because I'm a black girl? What's happening here? I was like, let me just be quiet. I'm supposed to make my skin fabulous.
There's grease all over because of her new moisturizing regime.
Oh.
After you put the your stuff on, could you make sure you like thoroughly clean your hands? Just because it gets on the doorknobs and it's like slippery.
Okay, I should have concentrated.
Just that. That's all I have.
And this is where it begins, where they slowly break you down emotionally and mentally. The girls learn how to break each other down.
That's, I mean, I don't even know if it's a real big problem or anything.
I remember on the show thinking to myself, oh my God, there's so much I want to say. But I really had to be still. There's nothing I can do here that's going to make it better. Whatever narrative they're creating, they're going to do this.
I love the color of her skin, I really do. But of course, she just looks so old.
To be hard with Ebony. She's very aggressive and very angry.
Ebony just
So when you're confident and you speaking up for yourself when it has to do with your hair, the lady speaking is one of those that had to work with her on her hair. Now she's aggressive and angry. So you see how you can pick up words from a show and let it carry on through time?
is much too harsh for me. I just don't get it.
You and I both know, looking at Ebony, her skin is actually gorgeous.
Ebony was out of the time.
She was dark skinned, she had a shaved head, and she was gay. That wasn't cool on TV, so she got the aggressive at it.
I realized that Tyra and the judges aren't going to help me. I know I have to protect myself, but you're forgetting I was in high school 3-4 years ago. And I felt that. I felt that innocence. And I just, well, oh my God. I actually haven't thought about this in years. And I've actually never talked about this, but my heart was breaking as I'm on this national show, thinking that the world would be proud of me.
Will Giselle and Ebony please step forward?
Innocence is lost. Ebony in this scene is so innocent. you come in like this and you leave like another person because they have cut away, shaved away, driven away your confidence and your security and called it aggressive and being angry. Now, how does this fit into a show? So now you feel threatened because even she said she had to like stay quiet and not say anything. And so they call the girls forward one by one and continue to break them down.
It's like, where is the self-esteem?
So she goes ahead and breaks down Giselle, asking her, where's the self-esteem? Well, she had it. She was very bubbly when she came into this show, as we saw. Well, you didn't see on here, but if you catch it on Netflix, she was very happy and was waiting for opportunities to happen. So next she calls Ebony.
When you come into the room, we sense a chip on your shoulder, a type of anger that makes you push yourself too hard to the point where you lose focus and you become difficult to work with.
So how is she becoming difficult to work with if she doesn't have the proper direction? But they blame her for the damage that they did to her mentally and emotionally.
Agents and managers were not interested in having anything to do with me because they just saw reality. I was the girl who had no confidence, and who's going to want to hire that girl? Who's going to want to sign that girl? I believed now that I wasn't good enough. I'm not going to make it.
They broke her down, and that stuck with her. Like how Tyra said, they said something to her that stuck with her. You would think that Tyra would be able to relate, but because she's so delusional, and so angry about the things that probably happened to her, that she basically wants to haze these girls to see if they can handle what she went through, the disrespect, the emotional and mental breakdown, instead of helping make it better so that you can have these legions of girls respect you forever. You did this to these women, and that's never forgiven. Can never forgive that.
I started to.
So the show, with them calling Ebony Ashley and her being LGBTQ at the time, she said that, she started to, after the judging and everything, she left, and when she went out of the room, she like she said, she got emotional, expressing her thoughts upon her experience on the show. And upon her exiting the room, she physically breaks down. She says she basically collapses because she couldn't handle being portrayed and having Tyra not be there and be her protection. And when you're young, you do look for that. Being 18, between 18 and 24, you're somewhere you don't know anybody, you're scared and you're alone and you don't have family or friends around. And these people are your family and your friends. And she lost this innocence. And I know she got it back because it's Ebony. But it's the fact that they left her feeling like this. Tyra is the type of supervisor or manager that you have that you would go to about an issue or concern, and they would gaslight you or tell you that you're complaining or make light of the situation. That was the problem. That what makes it so unforgivable. And having people like this on the show, hurting and disrespecting these girls, they should have fired her after cycle one. They winded up getting rid of her because she kept getting more winded up and more making more racist, sexualized comments as she went because they let her get away with everything. So why stop, right? Why stop? And then they ruined Giselle to the point where she felt like she couldn't use any of her photos to get a job. Even after building a portfolio, it was too late. Tyra felt like she went too far, but baby, after season one, it had already hit the fan. From this show, I felt like the girls on this show and people that were easily influenced felt like they had to be who people wanted them to be. That's what made me. I refuse to be gaslit, and I refuse to be who anybody wanted me to be. This show taught society how to treat Black girls and girls like Giselle and whomever didn't fit the preference resume. And that is Tyra's fault because she was at the time, even though you say the bosses have a boss, sometimes if something is so important to you, you will risk it to make this work. So now enter Shandy, 21 years old from Kansas City. To me, she was our first Bella. But let's go to the Shandy we first knew. Once again, the innocence that they tore away. This is season 2. And now they need a photographer. They showed they needed a straight white man. So enter Nigel. He's the guy in the middle, the white straight guy, as far as we know. Has this little British accent. At the time, he is married, and I think he had like 3 sons. They were all toddler ages at this time. And we once again enter Shandy, our Bella, before Bella. Janice Dickinson would disrespect all the girls, and Tyra got offensive every now and again. They were back and forth. So then Jay would get involved and banter back and forth with her too. Now he had a lot of comebacks. Then Miss J stood in and he snapped on Janice at one point, and then he would let her have it too at some points. Sandy's transformation, I would say she got turned into Bella after the new moon because she was beautiful. She talks about leaving her family that never loved her, never showed her any type of emotion. She talks about how she just picked up and leave, and her dad asked where she was going, and she told him that she was leaving, and he was like, "Oh well," and she left, never feeling loved at home. Fast forward, the girls get to go to Milan, and Shandy got rave reviews, good reviews. They had to go on Go Sees to go get those jobs from different model agencies. The girls were tired. Then one of the girls wanted to invite these guys over. And Shandy explains, this is Shandy of today, some things that happened during this time. So Shandy hadn't eaten or drank. Now
I'd eaten anything at all.
she didn't eat anything at all. And she explains that they get into the jacuzzi and they drink in the jacuzzi with the guys. Says everything was a blur. She said everything was a blur. So she got really drunk. And we don't know if maybe she was slipped anything, you know. But you could tell she's probably somebody that never has a drink. And you have to do drink to weight. And because she's very skinny, it probably only took so many drinks. And she said she had 2 wine bottles. 1 would have been enough, but 2 definitely is going to have you sleeping like you're unconscious. She thinks she says everything was a blur after them having drinks, and says a guy all of a sudden was on top of her. No one stopped, and they filmed it. They continued to film it and labeled it as if she participated in a intimate act. They asked Tyra about this. And Tyra plays very dumb, and she's like, and she wants to gaslight the situation again because she looks at it like Shandy participated in this. This is what they wanted. I saw the girls on camera drinking. So, I mean, this is what they wanted. I believe Shandy, in a way, Shandy might not believe this, but I believe Shandy was very much taken advantage of. She was assaulted. And the show doesn't want to admit it, but she was. And they did not want to take accountability or be liable. Shandy says she had 2 bottles of wine and basically was taken advantage of while she was drunk. That's assault. Netflix asked, did Shandy think the producers of the show would stop? And Shandy agrees. Netflix asked Tyra and Ken, why didn't they stop it? Ken says they record regardless. So you could be getting assaulted, or somebody could assault you or physically harm you, but they're recording regardless. They asked Tyra and Ken, why didn't they stop it? And then they created a rumor, and the cameras went in and captured it. They created a rumor and made it seem like she was just sleeping with the guys. And knowing from earlier season that we have a crew that likes to instigate and spread rumors amongst the girls. And then the show already aired it. They aired it. They aired the show for all to see. I remember seeing this, and it did not look right to me. I felt like something indecent happened, even at that time. And watching it again, I feel even more passionate about it today, that Shandy should have made them liable. I know her parents. I know her parents were angry and upset about this. Tyra tries to gaslight it like it was cheating. She gaslit Tyra coming to the apartment, making it seem like, well, I just have a relationship, and if we do something together, I just tell my man he can go cheat, and then I do my thing. And that is not this, Tyra. That is not how you talk to young women either. So this is how we know you are a very toxic person. Shandy was demanding to go home. They would not let her go home. What if she would have physically harmed herself? Then what do we do then? What happens then when somebody physically harms themselves because a situation happens where the show is not helping her and she's having all these different mental and emotional issues coming up again now in season 2? This is even worse, and it has escalated. And they're not giving her a way out. They're not even letting her leave. She wants to make a phone call, but they want to film the phone call between Shandy and her boyfriend, where he confronts her while the show is filming. He calls her the B word because she's admitting to him that she felt like she cheated, even though she was assaulted. And then they want to apologize. But the damage is already done in Shandy's life. Then they send her to a doctor and they film that. They were covering their asses. Now they have to rush and edit after the Janet Jackson incident happens at the Super Bowl, because now this is going to make them look a certain way, and people are going to turn their eyes to, man, this looks like an assault on TV. So they rushed to edit this out of the show. Tyra, during this interview in this edit part, has no accountability at all. She is, to me, she's a different person since, I don't even know, since season 1. It's like she came with a certain attitude and with a scrape on her shoulder. Tyra continues to go on shows, ruining the girl's confidence and her self-esteem and mindsets. Shandy actually went on then titled show Tyra Banks Show, and Tyra played the assault again. Y'all, she played it again. I don't even remember looking at the Tyra Banks Show at the time. And maybe I saw this and I didn't have a reaction myself at the time. You know, even though we had the internet, we had AOL and man, I forget the other one. It's been so long since before Facebook. I forgot what it's called, child. And so it was embarrassing to see her play that and air that again and make her feel like it's her fault that it happened. Like, you cheated, and that's that. It wasn't assault. You got drunk. He got on top. The show recorded it, and then we're gonna play it again on my show. Now, next, America's Next Top Model goes national with other countries. You have America's Next Top Model Africa. You have America's Next Top Model Britain, everywhere. Now they come up, they have catchy words like smize and all the J slangs at the time. And next is the Macy's casting. They talked about pushing the limit. Oh, child, when somebody's talking about pushing the limit, given where this show came from, I would be afraid. All the way afraid. But there's one person that I can respect in this show that will always show the girls respect. And when a psychic came over to see Shandy, she was able to see that Shandy had a family that didn't show her love, and that the girls were pretty much her family. And it made her very emotional, to the point where Miss J gave her a hug. And it should have been his show, because Tyra did destiny swap with you, boo, and took your baby. That's why he treated those girls like they were his babies. Now, he would be hard every once in a while, but he was nothing like a Tyra. He was nothing like her. Enter Kenya. In South Africa, one of the male models aggressively flirts with Kenya. He's a predator to me, y'all. He touched Kenya inappropriately. Once again, someone goes to Tyra, and the photographers have an issue and solve nothing. Tyra didn't protect someone again. Kenya tries to hold her composure. They talk about the shot and tell Tyra, Brittany, the guy, Brittany or whatever his name is, grabbed and touched her. Kenya is telling them in the middle of judging, they grabbed and touched her. He grabbed and touched her. And they even took a picture of the incident. They have a picture of, they have evidence of this happening. But Nigel says she should have stood up for herself, putting the male model's actions on her. Tyra like tells him to, she's like, tell him to back up off of you. But this is gaslighting once again. Irresponsible, and it's neglectful. When they talk to Tyra about it, of course, she apologizes. And Miss J says, after all of this has happened, he is struggling with everything that's happening. And he's struggling with how the show is going. And there's a scene, a young lady lets them know in one of the model interviews, basically that she was done, and she basically walks off and quit. She lets them know that you're not going to get me up in here and turn me into a nothing. Next up is the infamous moment between Tyra and Tiffany, where Tyra talks, she saw Tiff give up in a way. And maybe Tiffany did in a way. She kind of was. I think you can get so close to something and it scares you. And I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened with Tiff. She got close to it and it scared her. So Tyra just, to me, took out all her frustration on Tiffany. And I'll never forget it because everybody was interviewing like the way we thought they would and telling us exactly how they felt. And the way she yelled, I mean, to me, I don't know if Tyra was doing that for ratings or what. All I know is infamous with her at this point. And to me, girl, that was one of your worst scenes because it's like you let us know how you really felt about her in that moment. Because why are you getting that mad at her if she decides to quit? Unless every time they were doing these model searches, girls were quitting because they was letting them know you're not going to get me on a forum and dog me out and emotionally and mental abuse me like they was raised right. And they're not going to let you play with them like that. Nobody's going to let you play on their top to be on top model. Is you crazy? And so, yeah, here's the scene
that she hadn't done before.
Both of you will pack your bags.
She's got 2 girls home.
What a head. And all bad.
Tyra really wanted people to take it seriously.
Oh, girl, you gotta stop.
She's feeling that Tiffany's mocking this. That struck a chord.
If you guys stand in front of me, I just need to say one more thing to you. Tiffany, I'm extremely disappointed in you. This is a joke to you. You've been through anger management. You've been through your grandmother getting her lights turned off to buy you a swimsuit for this competition. And you go over there and you joke and you laugh. Looks can be deceiving. I'm hurt. I am. But I'm sick of crying about stuff that I cannot change. I'm sick of being disappointed. I'm sick of all of it. I'm not. Thank you. Sick of being disappointed, Tiffany. Obviously, I am. No, you're not. If you were sick of being disappointed, you would stand up and you would take control of your destiny. Do you know that you have a possibility to win? Do you know that all of America is rooting for you? When I see this beautiful girl who made some mistakes in the season before and didn't make it, and then we, worked with her to get her here. You come in here and look at that and say, I can't read that. You read 10 times better than half of those girls over there. And then to see her, just kind of giving up, you come in here with a defeatist attitude. I don't have a bad attitude. Maybe I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry. Yeah. Just not be quiet. But everybody be quiet. I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Tyra really scared all of us. We literally jumped out of our seats. What is happening right now? It was definitely the most difficult moment on set I had ever experienced. It was ugly.
Learn something from this. You rolling your eyes and you act like it's because you've heard it all before. You don't know where the hell I come from. You have no idea what I've been through. But I'm not a victim. I grew up from it and I learned. Take responsibility for yourself.
When they were done shooting, production staff literally just like
Girl. Child. Oh, God in heaven. Ooh, a lot of us know if that was when now you ain't hollering at who you hollering? Who you with this girl? Who you? The Tiffany was really about that now. It really could have been some. Like it really could have been that. Look how she looking walking out, boy. Tyra mad for real, for real. Oh boy. I'm like, Tyra, what in the what happened? Why was you so mad? If somebody wants to lose something or be a loser about something, let it be. She wanted to leave. I think Tiffany was doing what Shannon was doing in the background. I think she had been wanting to leave all along because she was facing all these different pressures. And she was done. She was just done with the show. But she recently commented. Let me find it because I know I uploaded it for sure. Hold on. Yeah, so y'all ain't gonna be able to see it, but I will happily read it for you. She still look good. I don't give a what. She got these tattoos on her face and everything, and she's still beating it. Like she is beautiful. Still, girl, you still look good. So let me go to her comment because she definitely had something to say. And Tyra, girl, don't play with her. Here it goes. Okay, this is Tiffany the GOAT 1. And she released that hold up at Tyra Banks. Let's keep it cute. You are one lion. A. You know how you treated me the whole time, off and on camera. You was a bully. You treated me like and said the nastiest things about me and my son. That is not how the argument went, but y'all edited to make it look like you cared. F you at Tyra Banks. I bet you won't sit down with me face to face and talk about it. Ooh. Also, F my family too. Okay. Y'all don't even defend me. I got more money and helping more people than all or many on the top models, but that's the update y'all give. Dang shame. It's giving. Y'all still hating on little black A me at Tyra Banks. Ooh, she called her HOE. She said, just let it go. It's been over 20 years. And she put something in FUCK. Tiffany still look good, y'all. So Tiffany walks off after the confrontation, of course, as you saw in the video, which was good for her to do since Tyra said that she had anger management. It was the best thing for her to do. But I believe Tyra did that to try to provoke that girl. They said that next week, after that altercation, they don't know what happened. They had a meeting and all the lawyers were on the set. Jay says people tried to make it funny and it wasn't. Producer, did he ever stand up about the things that happened on the show? He says he was of saying the wrong thing and then he left the show. They were doing photo shoots about everything, modeling with fish. It's like they were grabbing their scrolls after this incident. And they were doing the most because they was running out of ideas, honestly. But that's what happens when you do too much and then it comes to not nothing after a while. They push the girls to the limit, literally. Enter Danielle Evans, FICO 6. And she speaks and talks of being ready to be on the show so she can leave a hard upbringing and have a better life. Soon as she get on the show, they're already focused on her gap. And me being a person that has this same type of gap that she has, that hit hard with me because it did make me feel a certain way because I was another Danielle, honestly. And now they were breaking down people that was watching the show if they already were, but they was breaking down those of us even more that was watching the show. Because now they're touching on things that are really related to us, not just the size and color anymore. Now we're talking about gap teeth and wanting to change that. So they make an appointment for her and her castmate. She stayed at the dentist with a girl till like 1 a.m. for her to get her teeth straight. The dentist guy had asked Danielle, and she had refused to close her gap. Of course, he's gonna go back and tell it. If the message producers didn't tell it, they couldn't call mom or lawyer, and they had to sign waivers. That was Joni. So Joni is the one that was in the dentist's office all day and night. So then comes the lineup. After I seen Joni like this, man, I was like, why would anybody want to get their teeth, a gap closed or teeth messed with? Because they had her looking like the crib keeper on there. So now comes the lineup where Tyra basically threatens Danielle that if she didn't fix her gap, they wouldn't work with her. And this is Tyra making fun of it, saying in a way, alluding that you think people are going to want to work with somebody with a gap. And Nigel lets her know that it's like it's different. It's not, everybody should be chasing perfection, even though having a gap is perfection, my dear. It's called a different beauty aesthetic. Everything isn't made the same. God didn't make us the same. She did let Tyra know that she wasn't closing her gap. And Tyra threatens, but Danielle does give in. And she calls her mom. Nigel said Danny looked good, of course. And when Danielle, who likes and prefers to be called Danielle, talked to her mom basically gave her an ultimatum about it. Like, is this either you can do the show or you can get your gap fixed? But she ultimately let it be Danielle's choice. Next, they get a girl on the show. And with this girl, they want her to look like Lori Hutton, is it? I think it's Lori Hutton. From the one that played in Once Bitten and played in a lot of commercials. She had a little gap like a Madonna gap. So they went from having somebody close their gap, and they could have made her that, to finding a girl in another season and have her opening her gap to imitate Laura Hudson or Hudden, or the Madonna gap, as you would call it. Tyra, at this point, is given delusional about her and the apology to Danny. Danny still looks good and felt that the TV was made at her expense. And it was. The girls got sick. They were on water diets every day. Everybody had some type of eating disorder. Girls were near death or even passing out. Society even commented about the health disorders. Then they create the crime scenes. And another episode where they would show different types of homicide scenes. Now, I would have took a picture and put it up here, but because YouTube is so strict, I was scared y'all to put it on here. So I didn't want to take a chance. I basically took the notes. So in the scene, in next is they shoot each scene where it shows a particular model has a wound to her head. The show knew the backstory about why that was significant to this particular model, because her mom had like this. She was shot and paralyzed. But the show moved on regardless. Nigel thought there was nothing wrong with it, neither. Only person that really took accountability in this was Ken Mott. But what happened had already happened. So you couldn't erase what was already done. So it's the fact that even though Nigel and the Jays, Mr. J, they didn't see nothing wrong with it because they wanted to shoot a scene. You know, they wanted to shoot a scene and it was going to be what it was going to be. The race swap, where they have the girls do scenes with different being each other's race. Miss J tried to sit this one out, but said he was made to do the race swap shoot and talks about being half African. But that didn't make it any better, of course. And the community goes crazy, of course. Social media flips out. But what makes it worse is
this photo shoot. What I don't hear a lot of people talking about really is the fact that they did it again.
Yeah. They did it again. I think Tyra's the kind of person where if you make her mad and tell her she can't do something, she's going to do it again to piss you off. That's the kind of person she is. Tyra says she's looking through 2020 lens and it looks a certain way and it was a problem, girl. And now she understands. But you did it twice, 2 different cycles, ma'am. Can you heal? Cycle 4. And the show makes weight loss, makes weight an issue. And the judges disrespect Kenya. Janice calls her Piggy from a photo shoot they had to pose for. They go in on Kenya saying she needs to lose weight. They edited Kenya eating bagels 3 times, even though it was only one time that she ate the bagel. It's the same bagel. They talk about when Tyra was fat shamed, of course, and projected onto the girls. Yeah, we remember the time when they called Tyra names because she had gained all this weight and she got mad on her show telling people to kiss her big fat what. But then she projects another set of attitudes and emotions onto the girls. One of the girls admits there were eating disorders on the show. Not surprised, of course. Enter Whitney Thompson, Psycho 10, size 6, 5'10", 115 pounds. Now, to me, size 6, you 5'10" and 115 pounds, that's skinny to me. But when Whitney was on the show, they wanted a size 2, and speaks of the time when Takora, she stood up for herself, just like you remember Ebony did in season 1. And what do they do when you stand up for yourself? She was cut in Cycle 9. Of course she was. Women develop eating disorders from watching America's Next Top Model. And we know this to be a fact and true. Very true. Miss J says he sent in his letter of resignation, and he did not hear anything from Tyra for 3 days. And when he did, she only sent 3 words. What were those 3 words, might you add? I am disappointed. And I would have been like, nobody cares. I'm not coming back. But after he never heard from her, they asked Jay to do one more cycle. But he felt he was threatened to come back or else, because they were talking about a contract. Jay goes back and sits with Tyra, and she ignores him. Well, he really should have got up and left, honestly. On camera, they could talk. But off camera, he said she ignored him. Jay felt like it was psychological torture. Well, you're enduring what the girls endured. Even though I could sit here and feel sorry for you, Jay, you participated in the madness also, my darling. You, Jay Alexander, and Nigel as well. We already know about Janice and the rest, but y'all participated in it too, darling. Tyra refuses to talk to Jay when asked by producers. They said she will call, which will probably be never. Jay talks about the struggles of the photo shoots and learning the art of storytelling. Jay admits Tyra and others purposely chose the worst photos to sabotage. They didn't choose the better shots. So Tyra's evil, because that's probably why a lot of girls got eliminated. Some of the ones that got eliminated probably had some of the best photos, but they chose to use the worst photos to push the person that they wanted to win. Now, most of the girls that did win did deserve it, like Eva and Naima and Isis. But there were some questionable wins, of course. Judges felt they eliminated the wrong girls. Tyra, no phones were available after elimination. They got no thank yous, and these are the girls. They got no thank yous, and they had to go back to their old life for some. They had to figure it out on their own. Kenya says she couldn't use any of her photos. Dion said she tried to get signed by model agencies with no luck. So the girls are going on the show and nothing's working out for them. So me looking at this show, I'm noticing that some of the key people and figures, because they experience the same thing and they don't want to take Tyra all the way down, they didn't show up. There were no appearances by, and spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, you might want to skip this part because I'm going to name some names that did not participate in this documentary one way or the other. Eva, Wendy Harlow and Takora. None of them made appearances. None of them. Isis did not make an appearance either. They talked about her being the first trans cycle model winner. And Whitney got a contract with Wilhelmina, and they had no plus size divisions. Child. Fashions with no fashions. Danny felt life was about to happen after winning. Child, it'll never work out how you think it's gonna work out. But after the cameras, these girls were basically thrown to the wolves. The energy was off-putting at the agencies that Danielle would go to, and she felt like a black sheep. That's because some of these places they had her going to, they did not care for a black girl. And plus, they had just got through making her look bad on the show. And that's what they did. They damaged these girls' reputations to where they had no way to fall back on a career. They saw how Danny would let them treat her any kind of way. So, of course, they was like, well, she's not going to let us dictate how she moves. So we're not going to hire her. So Chanel Iman asked why Danielle she took it upon herself to ask why Danielle never got castings to find out why she's being looked over. And the agent tells Chanel they have to treat Danny different because she came from top model. Y'all hear that? They treated her different. No one wanted to book because of reality show. She was never able to rise. They didn't want it to be about her. But if you're the model, it is about you. You're modeling the clothes, so everything about you matters. Tyra knew it would be different and tells Danny 15 years later that she knew but did not tell her till later. She knew Danny was struggling and was on the fence. So Tyra was basically like, she knew it was different and I saw you struggling and on the fence, but it's 15 years later and now all these years later, now you tell me? Because Danielle probably reached out to Tyra and this is what she told. So you saw her struggling and you did not help her. For one reason or another, you did not help her. Girl, Tyra is, I'm telling you. This show was built off the backs of those girls and to be broken. And Tyra on her show, Rose clip of Shandy being drunk. She did that. And she victimized her again. So she knew everything these girls was going through. And Shandy says she's back at Walgreens, y'all, later in the show. She comes back and let them know. After all that, she's back at Walgreens. So, what happens later on? So Mark Pedowitz becomes the new show owner after Don from the UPN. Tyra has to fire some peoples. We're going to pause that first. That's the little interview. Who are the three people? These three. Why do I believe Tyra did this to make more money? Or maybe he did say get rid of them. I don't know. Miss J says that Tyra sent him flowers and fires him 5 days later. So They said the ratings were down, so they needed to get rid of the spines of the show. Jay says when he wanted to leave cycles 10 through 18, but feels backstabbed. So when he wanted to leave, they didn't want him to leave. So he came back. Well, he was on cycles 10 through 18. And then he feels backstabbed because he stayed and sacrificed his time. Tyra agrees to put out press, but them getting fired leaks. It leaks to page 6. Wonder who leaked it. Jay, Nigel, and Miss J feel betrayed, upset. Tyra humiliated and refused to let them move forward with grace. So the two Jays and Nigel do an interview. Here's the interview, a short interview, no less.
The 3 stars of America's Next Top Model were all just fired by Tyra Banks in their first TV interview together. As soon as the news broke, you guys saw the headlines, I'm sure, as soon as they were coming out. It all said judges fired. That's how people were putting it. Do you feel blindsided by what happened?
I think more than anything, I feel a little sad.
Well, I got flowers last week sent to me by Tyra.
To soften the blow?
That's what I kind of thought. I said to myself,
I just sat there and worried this.
What I'm also interested to know is if this in any way is kind of a relief. I mean, let's face it, I worked with Tyra from way back when. Her reputation precedes her. She is tough to work for.
And then, of course, the question that was posed directly to me.
How tough was Tyra to work for?
Jake grabs my knee like, go ahead, girl. Like, it's just like, Jay, like, why are you doing this to me? We had to speak very carefully, you know, contractually at the time. You know, there are only certain things you can speak about around production and what have you legally. Ken, Tyra, they were all watching us live. I know that. And I just thought, she's waiting for my answer. And,
well, you know, here's the thing. I'm a perfectionist too. I usually demand a lot, you know, from people who work with me. No, it's true. He's like, no, I can't. You know, it is, and I think that.
Jay scaling back on his words and feelings. Come on, Jay.
That was actually our initial connection.
I still really respected her as a model and a business mind.
In terms of her being specifically difficult or rude, that's not Tyra's. She's not the type of person to walk out and out.
She just has a very strong work ethic and knows what she wants.
I'm sure we all do.
Yes. Let me just ask you.
It felt like the culmination of how our entire relationship and how I always viewed her. I have to do something to fix and bridge the gap. That's how I looked at it, and that's just who I was.
Tyra says she cried herself to sleep about it. But Tyra and Ken made sure their jobs were secure, Jay. Tyra claims it came from above and think the guys fired didn't know. Like, they got fired and I don't think they know that it didn't come from me. It wasn't me. I kept hoping that the Jays and Nigel would come back. Every season we was looking for these guys. We thought it was just, you know, how you substitute people for a little while and then you bring them back. This is what a lot of us, of the fans of the show, were thinking at the time. Like, yeah, they're going to bring them back. Sure, pretty sure they're going to bring them back. But it didn't happen that way. They never came back. And I feel like my interest to the show got lost after that because the people were not like the Jays and Nigels. Even though they contributed to a lot of problems, it just wasn't the same energy. So after that, America's Next Top Model went Hollywood Cycle 19. I didn't watch, of course, but them showing the scenes on Netflix, it looked a mess. They thought people would watch, but the show got worse, even with a boy model cycle. The show grabbed at anything, any kind of straw that would work. Now they don't want Tyra to host anymore. And what happens? They replace Tyra with a celebrity. See how you try to be a celebrity, you already are, but then you really try to be a celebrity in Hollywood, and then Hollywood takes and devours you. So when you destiny swap with somebody, they then destiny swap and take everything from you too. It ran its course, honey. Nigel got booked since then after the show. They talk about everybody after the show, what has happened to them in their lives. So Nigel got booked with a lot of celebrities with the likes of Taylor Swift. Jay Manuel has a contract with E, of course. And Jay Alexander toured around the world until everything changed his life. And enter Jay Alexander, who shows us that everything changed. He's living in seems to be in either a hotel or an apartment studio like. He just said he had a stroke and says he woke up and didn't know where he was in the hospital didn't know he was in the hospital for 5 weeks. He couldn't walk or talk. And he gets emotional about it. And I got emotional too because this is our Jay. He says that Jay and Nigel did come to visit him often. And they were upset and scared about what was happening with him. The Jays and Nigel all together let Jay know they're glad to see him. They have a strong friendship. And they support and they love him. Like they love each other. They're bonded to this day. Jay gets emotional and expresses how he misses walking. He misses walking. And because of that, he said, I suffered a stroke years ago and can't walk. He says Tyra has yet to visit him. I taught models how to walk, and now I can't walk. He also taught Tyra how to walk as a model. She took on his persona. Honestly, in 2022, I did not even know that Jay Alexander had a stroke. I don't remember hearing this in the news at all. And it was a very short reaction to it. He gets emotional and expresses how he misses walking. And now he can't. Not yet, he says. We believe in you, Jay. I believe in you. They asked Tyra, has she visited Jay? She says, no, not yet. And she said that she now lives in Australia and says she's planning a cycle 25 and that we have no idea, child. I think if she does get the greenlit light on this show, she's gonna ruin more lives. I feel like people should boycott her because she doesn't deserve to come back. She's a terror. She is. She's a terror. The girls don't recommend, but they say enter at your own risk, basically. They say they believe that the show had good intentions, but the method and theology around it got lost. Ebony expresses disappointment, and the show let the girls down. Tyra's still making excuses, of course, throughout the show, and says thank you for that. Because they were saying, the show was, okay, it did what it did, but that was it. But girl, don't do that. But she says, thank you. Like, it really wasn't for you. She said, because her getting called out on her ish. If you call me out, I'm going to call you out. So it's cool. But like, girl, it wasn't nothing to really call the girls out on. You did need to be called out and you still need to be held accountable. You took no accountability even in this documentary, and you had the nerve to show up like you ain't have no fault in this. Danielle says the girls absolutely Danielle, after hearing what Tyra says, girl, that's absolutely ridiculous. Tyra sounded delusional. And that's me saying that. She definitely sounded delusional. She sounded like, I don't even want to say it, but she sounded like a Karen that was hitting, that took over her body. And like, this is not Tyra. Like, what? And y'all know something, what I noticed too? That was the end of the documentary, guys. Yes. Yes. This is my first, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I took notes, pages, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 feet of notes. So you was wondering how I was able to tell those stories in the way that they went. Child, notes. Gotta learn. You learn it from school, child. That's the only way you can tell the story right. And oh my goodness, something that I noticed through all of this, Tyra, to let you know, and I hate that even the Jays and Nigel and they didn't even notice. Tyra will not let them use her likeness. Even that time when Jay took a picture of her, she was telling somebody, I think it was Miss J Manuel, not to post her picture. She don't want nobody to make money off her likeness. You cannot find her in a group picture with her cohorts, her co-hosts. Like, this is good as it's gonna get. Seeing them together, minus Miss J. That's the new co-host on the end, the lady after he left. But this is good as it's gonna get as far as getting a picture of the cast of America's Next Top Model, because it ain't no pictures out there. I think she copyrighted them in some way. And it's nowhere out there unless you like collage it together. I wish I had the song to go out on, because I ain't gonna lie, you definitely can't play that because it's her song. I looked at it as I was Googling everything. I'm like, yeah, that's her song. She got that copywritten, everything. You try to play even one smidget of it, they waiting to hit it. So yeah, guys, this was a show that had me in a headlock for sure. And I watched. Now, it didn't give me any eating disorders, that's for sure, because I was already like a health buff type of person. I believed in a healthy lifestyle, even in my early 20s. So it made you think about things. It had influences over your thoughts about food and your weight, though. So it did have some type of influence, or it got into my head a bit. But this show did change our thinking. Like, it got into our mental real bad. I just hate that Tyra, for as much as it was, girl, I wish you would have been more accountable, and you was not. You was very delusional. You was talking like you wasn't at fault, and then had the nerve to say you was coming with a Cycle 25. I'm pretty sure she's working on it, but I don't think nobody touched you this time. You don't have the UPN or the WB around. And those same stations are still gonna turn you down, boo. Those same channels. And I don't blame them. And on that note, guys, that's the end of this part of the storytelling. I am done. And I am so proud of myself because I did 10 pages of storytelling. Yay! I'm so happy for myself because I did good. I did good. Thank you. Pat myself on the back. Yes, I am done. And so I hope you guys like and subscribe and like the video and comment and tell me, how did this show affect you as a woman, even or a man? They had the boy cycle. So, hey, so let me know. Did you watch America's Next Top Model? When did you start watching it? So, yeah. Give me your thoughts and your opinions on the show, because this show was lit at the time. It was very lit. It was the time of Eva the Diva. This is not America's Next Best Friend. Hey. So, and ain't none of them girls show up. That was the crazy part about it. None of them showed up. Not Eva, not Decorah, not Winnie Harlow, not Isis, Acosta. Ah, Tyra, you really know you was a mess when even your biggest girls don't even show up or speak on you. So, yeah, guys, on that note, I am out of here. Thank you guys for listening. And like I say, like and subscribe if you care. And comment. Let me know how you felt about it, okay? Bye, guys.